Hey there. Welcome to the Gyro Step, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN. I'm Ti Windisch, one of your hosts, joined as always by the recovered Rohan and Katti. I should just put that up front because if the people, they don't do playbacks, you were on playback today, but the last GSPN pod people heard, we talked about how you were under the weather. So Rohan, I'm glad to report that you're feeling better. I guess I could let you report that as well, too.
Yeah, the source, the phone call is coming from inside the house. That is. But thank you. You guys did a great job on that crossover. That was a great episode. I apologize that I could not be on it. I planned to be on it, but I thought you guys did a great job. It was a great episode. Listen to it. I think the day it came out or day after, I think. It was a fantastic episode. Well done. And yeah, I'm feeling all better, ready to go, ready to talk some Bucks because they're still winning, Ti.
Yeah.
14 in a row. Shout out Johnny Mac, John McLaughlin, number 14.
Yeah, that's a good one. What was it? Was it 18 they did in 2019-20?
It was.
That's going to be tough. We'll talk about it. I mean, the thesis of this podcast is, will the Milwaukee Bucks lose again? I want to say it's tongue-in-cheek, but I don't know. I don't know if I can talk Rohan into the Bucks taking another L this season. I mean, I feel like we're both so fired up, and I think out of the two of us, maybe you're more excitable, shall we say? But first,
yeah, let's go with that one.
But first, real quick, couple of things. We've hit you over the head with this stuff, so I'll keep it quick. But the fellas are all getting together, the whole GSPN crew, Adam and Andrew, coming in from out of town, across the country and across the ocean in early April.
Different state, different country. Come on, this is a big time event, people.
Huge, big time Ti knows. This is a big time event. Big time Rohan knows even better. Bayshore Parker on the call here. But let us know if you want to attend that. If you're serious about going, we don't know exactly where yet. We're getting an idea of the amount of people, but let us know, gspn.info to register. You put in your email. We'll email you with details once a venue is booked. Is April 2 or 4? 4. Thank you.
Tuesday, April 4th.
That's where I got the 2 from. Tuesday, April 4th.
We're gonna be watching some Bucks Wizards, I believe. We're gonna be watching some Brewers Mets.
Yeah, it's a big sports day. So it'll be a great time with the whole crew and a bunch of lovely listeners. So we're looking forward to that. And last day today, as you hear this, the 27th, to enter to win an autographed Bobby Portis jersey, courtesy of our friends at Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin.
Should I pull it up?
Pull it up. Do you have it handy? He's getting it. Yeah. If you're not watching on YouTube, check it out for a pic. I guess we did share a pic earlier, but this is a first vid of the jersey reveal here, exclusive. Oh, nice. Oh, the signature looks great. Wow.
It's the good stuff. It's the good stuff.
It is the good stuff. The mayor of Milwaukee signed. Again, thanks to our friends at Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Go help them with their mission of feeding hungry kids. We've raised a couple $100 already, courtesy of listeners, so we very much thank you for that. And the giveaway details are also at gspn.info, but the quick version is screenshot proof that you're subscribed to all 4 of our podcasts, plus a screenshot showing you donating to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Each one of those is worth 1 entry, so up to 5 entries per person. So go enter, show some love to us, and more importantly, show some love to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Let's make sure no kids go hungry. Okay.
For sure. 100%.
Now, back to the Bucks. Rohan, I'll just throw it right to you. I don't know what you're going to say. We didn't kibitz on this beforehand. Will the Milwaukee Bucks lose again?
They might not, Ti. I mean, they will. They will at some point, right? Like, they're going to lose another game. But when is it going to come? You mentioned that they had an 18-game winning streak during the 1920 season, which is their longest in franchise history. I believe it's 33 or 34 games is the longest in NBA history. I think it was by the Lakers.
Oh, the Lakers. I don't think the Heat did it, did they?
No, I don't think they did.
And did the Warriors? Maybe they did it over 2 seasons, but not. And that should not count, by the way.
No.
That does not count. That's totally different.
It's different teams, different rosters, different years.
Well, there's a huge break. The whole part about it being difficult is it's so many. We know how the NBA calendar is: back-to-backs, 3 and 4 nights in there. That's why it's so impressive to have an NBA winning streak.
For sure. So it's the 33-34, whatever the Lakers did. The Bucks, they might have a chance to get there. We're still in a soft part of the schedule. And it really, really helps to. You know what helps with winning streaks?
What's that?
When you're a really good team, which is what the Milwaukee Bucks are. They keep winning games. We are coming to you on Sunday evening. We're recording this. It is after the Bucks beats the Phoenix Suns without Giannis, given the Suns did not have Kevin Durant as well. But it was a game where the Bucks did not have their superstar, their god, Giannis Antetokounmpo playing. And it was still a great game. You got performances all the way around. Jrue Holiday, Brook Lopez. It was performance after performance, and Boss Man 99 chiming in. There was great performances all around. So when you get this team cohesion going, you get this actually you get this team playing as a team together. They feel like a machine.
Yeah.
And this is what they look like. This is why they've rattled off 14 wins in a row. And when you look at the schedule upcoming time, this is what the premise of this episode was.
Yep.
Was just to see when are they going to lose again. I'm having a tough time picking out the game, Ti, because we have some softballs in them.
We do. I think the real enemy here is going to be just rest advantage. You know, you look at the schedule and it's Nets who are no longer good and are losing a lot. They absolutely got drubbed by the Bulls this past week. But then Nets Magic to back-to-back, first in Brooklyn, and then in Milwaukee. And then Saturday, Sunday is Sixers, Wizards, another back-to-back. First in Milwaukee against the Sixers, and then at home against Washington. And then a game off, and then Magic again on the road, another day off, then Nets at home. So it's really a packed schedule. And then you look at, Saturday, March 11th, Warriors. This is a road trip, by the way. 13th Kings, 14th Suns, 16th Pacers. They have a lot of games coming up in March. So I do think that's going to work against them the most. But as we've seen, this team is able to find ways to win, even if they don't have all their players available. And I think the depth of the roster is why we've seen this win streak and why they are able, they certainly are in a position to keep it going, because we saw Giannis has barely played the last three Bucks games, right? Didn't play this game today against Phoenix, and then barely played against Chicago, and barely played against the Heat. And the Bucks still found ways to win and scored 112, 128, and then only 104 against Phoenix this today. Also a day game, which kind of pretty sloppy game at times. But we just keep seeing different players step up. Today it was Jrue Holiday more than anyone else. Bobby Portis was sensational against the Heat. So I just think we're seeing the benefits of having not just a great team, as you mentioned. We've seen great Bucks teams before, but a team that the depth is really great too in itself. And now Pat Connaughton was back, didn't play well, but just nice to see him playing against Phoenix. That leaves the injury report as only Giannis, who, as I said, did miss that game, and then Wesley Matthews, who's dealing with a calf strain. TBD, that unfortunately could take a while. But I mean, that's the thing about this though, right? Would it shock me if they lost to Orlando on the folks love when I try to do the Segi Baba, the way I pronounced second game of a back-to-back Segi Baba. Would it shock me? Not really. I mean, the Magic are pushing for play-in. I think they're a respectable team when they're healthy. Markelle Fultz, Franz Wagner,
Michael Carter-Williams.
Michael Carter-Williams is back. They just, former Bucks legend, same pick as Marjan a couple years earlier, RJ Hampton, straight up released. Oof, not a good look there. And for Michael Carter-Williams of all players. But so that's why, I mean, it's going to be impressive. I think really at this point, every win from now is impressive, just because we've seen even very good teams. It's not normal to run off 14, 15 straight. It's just really easy to have an off night, have an injury night, just get outshot by someone. Anyone in the league can beat you on a given night. So, I'm not going to put a number out there, but I do think, to your point, are they good enough and deep enough to keep winning? Yeah, I just think there's some randomness to any streak that you see.
So you're saying that playing random is indeed a good thing?
I've, since that playoff run, I'm just I'm eating up the Bud propaganda. If he's given a halftime interview, I'm cranking the volume like it's a banger, like it's a song. I'm like, hold on, shh. This is one of my favorites. And then he goes, "We just got to play 5-on-5 out there." endless depth of insight.
Rebound, score, defense, assists, blocks, steals.
Dribbling, shooting, passing, defending. Those are our areas of emphasis for the second half.
Less fouls, more points.
Yeah.
He just has a box score in his head. He's just reading the category.
I think this is my favorite. We got a guard. Like, that probably will help.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a weird part of the schedule, and there's like I feel like we need to recognize like this is the longest win streak in the NBA this season. It's something that should be celebrated. But you're right. It'll be difficult to keep this win streak going for a long time, and like you said, it might not shock me if they lose the second game of back-to-back against the Orlando Magic. But just looking, they have 22 games left. This is game 60 they just played against the Suns. They only have 6 games against what I would consider good teams, quote unquote, good teams.
You're saying Sixers?
Sixers, Kings, Suns, Nuggets, Celtics, Sixers, and that's Grizzlies, 7.
If Steven Adams is back. Without Steven Adams.
Otherwise they're trash.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the other games here. It's like the Nets, they're plucky. They're not good. I mean, let's just be frank. They're not good. I'm not going to – a lot of people piling on Ben Simmons now. It's not even fun anymore. It's just sad.
Yeah, he's out of the rotation now?
Yeah.
It's just, they got beat on a Trae Young buzzer beater today.
Oh, they lost again.
Yep.
But Magic, like, a plucky team, not what you'd consider a world-beating team. The Wizards have always been the Wizards and always will be. Then Magic and Nets again, kind of a weird part of the schedule. They get Magic and Nets back-to-back games twice. Then the West Coast trip. So I think, if even being like, this is optimistic, but I think the West Coast trip would be hard to get through. And they'd be up to 20 if they get there. So I think any Bucks fan would take that. I mean, you get 20 straight wins at any point, you're not going to be mad. But in Warriors, where the only
quarter of the season,
the only time the Warriors play well at home, it's ridiculous. And then back-to-back at Kings, at Suns. That's a difficult 3 games. So I think the most optimistic outlook would probably be one of those 3, especially considering we know these back-to-backs coming up, probably going to see a couple of these games. I wouldn't say punted, but Chris isn't going to play all of them. Ingles and Chris will probably swap being off. We'll see if Giannis plays all of them. Any other injuries that get picked up, who knows? But I think that 3-game stretch would be pretty. I'd be shocked if they got to. That'd be 23 games. I mean, that in itself is shocking. But if they got through that trip, that's like, wow, okay, that is serious.
Yeah, that means you're getting contributions from all across the board, because there's going to be games where like Jrue is out, Chris is out, Giannis is out. Probably not Brook. Brook's an Iron Man, but
definitely not Javon.
No, Javon's going to play every
He's
single
out there
game.
chucking shots every night.
Yeah, but hey, he makes up for it. There was a moment during our playback. Yep. By the way, if you guys aren't tuning into our playbacks, I should say, make sure you check out that link at gspn.info. They're great times, great fun. You might get some cheating going on in terms of like calling plays and stuff, but that'll happen.
Scandal of the century.
I owned up to it.
Yeah, Jordan caught Rohan getting an advanced feed of the game and using it to actually make correct calls, which usually Rohan's like, oh, swish, the loudest brick you've ever seen. That's how it usually goes. Jordan is a detective and figured the espresso martinis he was having, he was amped and locked in.
He was. He caught me red-handed. But yeah, there was a moment where we were like, Javon, why are you shooting that shot? And then he immediately steals the inbounds and gets the layup. And we're like, okay, Javon, do whatever you want.
He earned it. I'll say this. His heat checks can be frustrating, and he should scale it back a little bit. It's less frustrating than when he wasn't shooting earlier. And I do think the message that he got and the reason we're seeing him play like this, and again, I think he's got to scale it back a little bit. He's like taking transition threes like right over defenders, which I think that's a good shot for him if it's open. If there's someone right on him, he shouldn't take that shot. But I think the message he got and clearly received is you can't not shoot. That's what really ruins things. These little heaters, he makes enough. He's still one of the best 2 3-point shooters. Well, Jay Crowder's on 80%, but realistically one of the best 2 3-pointer shooters on the team with Grayson Allen. But this is better than the alternative. Again, there's still a healthier middle ground, but I just will say that about Javon's shooting lately.
Yeah, exactly my point. I would rather have him shoot a high volume, whether it's like going to be stressing me out in terms of the shot attempts, than be too scared to shoot.
Yeah.
Because that's what we had problems with in the past with Grayson Allen. And frankly, that's what Javon has had problems with in the past.
Yeah.
Is he's been too scared to shoot. So it's like, yeah, I'll take this. I'll take this for sure. But getting back to the point of, yeah, you're going to need contributions from all across the team because guys are going to be in and out of the lineup. The stars are going to be in and out of the lineup. So if you can continue this winning streak, I think that really, really bodes well for the Bucks come playoff time because it means their role players are ready to roll.
Yeah. So I think we can dive into some role players here and just go through, really a lot of players. But first, should we share the Giannis injury update? Since that's obviously going to be a big deal for the Bucks long term and short term in terms of extending this winning streak.
For sure. So we saw that Giannis left that Heat game, what was it, like 6 minutes in or something?
Yeah.
After he bumped knees?
Yeah, no one is really, I think people think they know when it is, but like Bud has said, I'm not sure when it was. And it's not like something happened and then he went right out. He was kind of posting up and sort of grimaced and got himself out of the game.
Yeah. So we have a quote from Mike Budenholzer, and this is via Jim Ozarski's article in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Make sure you check out all of Jim Ozarski's writing. Great guy on the beat. So this is about Giannis Antetokounmpo being doubtful to play and getting subsequently ruled out with a right quad contusion, which is what they're calling it. I'm sure the medical has looked at what happened, but we haven't really talked about it, Budenholzer said. It's enough where he can't play today, but I think we're also confident that this is just a fairly common occurrence in our league. You hit knees, you knock, sometimes it takes a day or two. It's really nothing more than that. So the level of conversations have all been kind of along that line, and I haven't heard or gone back and reviewed exactly when it happened. So that sounds like, from what Bud is saying, he's saying it's a common occurrence, shouldn't really be looked at as anything serious or long term.
Yeah.
And he just needs a couple of days to bounce back.
Yeah, I'd imagine he plays one of these back-to-back games. That's my feeling. And I think we knew he has knee soreness going into the break. He had obviously the wrist injury as well. So I think both in terms of this specific knee knock and just an accumulation of things, as much as Giannis, clearly Giannis wants to play every game. He tried to play the first game back after the break, despite having that wrist injury that clearly was still bothering him a little bit, although he didn't look that bothered. But, we knew, right? Like, it didn't just go away. He wants to play. I think we probably see him only one of Bucks Nets and Bucks Magic this week because, just get him some time to rest and get that body healed up. Because we know, as fun as this win streak is, A, they've been able to carry it without him for basically 3 games now. And B, the real win streak we want is April, May, June, not late February. So
I've heard 16 wins a ring, Ti.
That's indeed true.
That is a deep cut.
Yeah, it is. The 5 people who get that, that's the reaction to that will be fun. But yeah, I think that's a good news though. I just think I know people don't trust the Bucks, and I get it, right? But I think overall, post Brook, most injury stuff, I think they've told us what they can tell us.
Yeah.
I know people were pissed off about Chris and pissed off about Giannis's wrist and Bobby. None of it seemed all that unusual to me, though, versus the Brook thing, which was just like, what the hell is going on?
The Brook thing was an abject disaster.
Yeah.
And I think they've learned from it. But these have been like sort of like ticky-tack injuries where you can't really give an exact timeline.
Yeah.
Like with Giannis sort of getting like knock knees and stuff, you can't really say when is the pain going to subside. Same with the wrist injury.
Yep.
Like we saw the reporting about him going to a specialist and it was just about pain and swelling management like you guys talked about on the last episode. It was just, it's all about day-to-day pain management. It might not seem, it's not fun to hear, but it's the truth.
Yeah. And Chris with the ramp ups, it was just like, we still don't know exactly what happened there, but I think some of that too is maybe shielding Chris and not trying to put too much out there that could put him in a bad light because it was just such a difficult ramp up for him. And then Bobby, it seemed like the timeline was like a week before All-Star, and it seems pretty obvious that they were just like, could you play? Probably, but yeah, let's just do it after. So we know that they're cautious too. And I think, again, Jim Ozarski, friend of the show, Jim Ozarski, mind you, he did an impromptu Reddit AMA I was reading through, and he, I don't know if reported is the right word, commented, it was literally a comment, kind of backed up what we've been saying for a while, that the Bucks are on the cautious side of NBA teams in terms of their medical and the times that players sit out. And he even said, I believe, you can look up the exact, it's on the Bucks Reddit, but you can look up his exact quote, but basically said, like, you know, they'll be a little less clear to give their guys a little more cover and, like, not make it seem like they should be back when they shouldn't. Like, they do that with timelines and everything, basically to kind of step between themselves and the player. So instead of getting a lot of, like, where is that guy? Like, he should be back by now. Like, what's taking so long? They want to be more cautious, and they'd rather take the heat, which I guess is admirable, if albeit frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about the health and safety of the players at the end of the day, which is good. The Bucks medical staff is unparalleled. Yeah. In terms of, like, their actual production and what they do to get players right. There have been numerous awards and articles about Suki Hobson and the job her entire staff does. So it's never a question of the Bucks medical staff because they are the best in the business. Exactly.
Okay, so we covered Giannis. He's going to wreck worlds again when he's back and can stay on the floor. Who do you want to talk about? Should we bounce around? We probably won't do the whole round. Maybe we will. You never know. But who do you want to talk about in terms of contributing to this winning streak?
Let's talk about the new guy.
Yeah,
Meyers Leonard.
Oh, we can do Meyers quick.
Let's do Meyers Leonard quick. First of all, I thought you guys did an amazing job talking about Meyers Leonard in the context of him being signed. Applaud you guys for that.
Thank you.
And I would tend to say that I agree with your guys' viewpoints and standpoints, and think that while there is a lot of stuff that Meyers needs to make up for it, what he's doing so far in the community is a great step moving forward.
I just quickly, I know I did a little pre-bit before. I haven't actually spoken at length. I don't think I'll speak at length now. I just thought that the intro with he and Bud both talking, it was the right first step. And, you know, if there's not much more than that, I'm not going to be upset because clearly it's not like, I don't know. What do you think he stays around after the 10-day?
We'll get into it, but I think so.
Okay. I'm not sure. I can see the vision, but I'm not sure. But, you know, I just, it seems like it's more well thought out than, you know, this guy, no one will care. He did something bad. Like, Meyers spoke a ton about it. Bud spoke about it, made it clear that the team spoke to him about it. And that's really what I was looking for all along. So, you know, they've given him a second chance. He's trying to make the most of it. And it seems like, at least off court, things are going the right way for that.
They're not ignoring it. They're making it an actual clear and present issue that they're talking about and addressing and moving forward, which I think is the best steps that they could take.
100%.
And this is a good step to take.
Apparently, we're missing Jordan Tresky toasted on playback.
Yes.
Right, oh, my goodness. If you're missing playbacks, get in the Discord so you never miss a playback. Because I don't know what's going on in the Cruising for a Bruising playback.
I'm jealous that I'm missing that.
I know. The messages in our group chat right now are something else. I need some clips from this later. But Meyers Leonard, Rohan. Go right ahead.
Meyers Leonard, in terms of an actual player, well, he does do things out there. In terms of he lumbers around.
Yep.
But he can also space the floor.
Yep.
Which I think is a valuable skill.
It's 50% from three so far.
One of two.
Yep.
It seems like he's gotten limited opportunities, obviously.
He's played 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and it's a new scheme, it's a new team, he just got here. But I think that is a valuable skill. A shooting big man is a valuable skill to have. You don't just find those guys lying around everywhere. The problem is the other end of the court, where he was playing one of the deepest drops I have ever seen against the Suns, and just in general, him being a drop back big. And given it was a different assignment, he was playing against Jock Lawndale. You're not really worried about him shooting the ball that well, which, I mean,
he did get one later.
He hit a three. He hit a three in the game. But just the way he moves on defense is very, very concerning. But then I thought about it in the context of Serge Ibaka, and I felt better. Because he's essentially in the Serge Ibaka role.
Yeah.
And he was looking like Serge Ibaka out there. But he could actually shoot.
Yeah.
Which made me think, like, hey, they kept Serge Ibaka. I think they're going to keep Meyers Leonard.
That's a fair point. And honestly, given that, assuming there's not some ridiculous heel turn off court, which I don't think there will be. I think
Hopefully.
hopefully. But I don't think so. I'm guessing he probably stopped streaming.
Oh, you have to.
I mean, that's from I'm not saying that makes things right. I'm just saying from like
there's no way anyone's going to let him stream.
Yeah, just a logical point of view. You would assume they took away his
agent
OBS.
gets that Twitch. His agent gets that Twitch notification.
Yeah, he's got to be hitting a shutdown somewhere. But all that aside, on court, I see the vision. I mean, he clearly is. He's bought in to play drop. I think what he's got going for him, legit size. He's listed at 7'1". Like he is at worst.
He's big. He looks bigger than 7'1".
He's got short arms. Jordan pointed this out.
Short arms, but in the context of being 7'1".
Yes. Still long arms for a normal person. But I think, he's obviously never going to be Brook Lopez, nor is almost any other big man in the league. But he's not going to be all that close. But if he can give you more on offense than Serge and not be that much worse defensively, and that's pretty much the role we're looking for. And later, we talked probably too much, but it's worth covering on Meyers on the last pod. The thing about his situation, and he's a little nuclear and he had just a ton of injuries and has just been out of the league. This is a guy who's going to react to being in the Serge Ibaka role, basically the opposite of Serge Ibaka, right? Like this guy is emotional, like really moved and fired up to be the 13th, Ti, on the Milwaukee Bucks. And like that in itself makes him a better fit along with the on-court stuff. Like, he's pumped about this. He also, I thought it was really interesting in his opening remarks. He talked about trying to learn from Brook, and I think he's going to focus on being that drop big. And I don't know. This is, it's hard to say exactly, but with all the big options and whatever you could get, I don't know how many of them have legit shooting ability, legit size, and are this bought in and excited to try and be a perfect fit. I'm not saying the other guys don't want that or Meyers Leonard is special in that, but it's clear that he wants to be exactly what the Bucks need from him, and that's valuable for a not every night player, I think.
For sure. And I think what you said about him being happy in his role is exactly what the Bucks need. And also is Serge gonna get another job?
I think YouTube has a YouTube studio program, so maybe there.
That's kind of, I feel bad because he requested a trade and gets waived as his pick of the crowd. It's just nothing.
Maybe should have just showed up and played his role and gotten a ring. Yeah.
And there's guys who are willing to be a part of that role, and I think that's what the Bucks really hit with Meyers Leonard, and that's why I think he's going to stick around. I think he at least gets another tendon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think on court, his actual production, they've won his minutes, which they drubbed Miami. So not saying all that much.
Revenge game for him.
Indeed. He's at 1-3. I don't know. He's at 2-3. Sorry, he's averaging 1. So he must be 2 for 4. I see the vision. On defense early in Miami game, had good possession, forced to travel against Bam Adebayo. He's probably still telling people about that one.
Mid-range sniper, Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, it's true. But sometimes you just wonder what exactly is he doing out there? Maybe that will improve a bit. Maybe he'll figure it out more, because I imagine he probably hasn't been a drop center all that often. I don't know how used to it. And I think getting reps and playing more with the team should help a little bit, because obviously, again, like I mentioned, it's never going to be a great defender. But if he can just be meh with the offense, assuming he's going to be a 40-ish% three-point shooter, that's pretty good. And we have seen, I think the most encouraging thing is not any makes or misses. It's that he's able to run a pick and pop with Chris, and he's just wide open. And if he's not wide open, it means Chris probably has an advantage. And that's just a good spot for Chris. So again, do I think he's an every game player? He's going to be a crucial rotation piece? No. But I think overall, it's fine so far. It's perfectly fine for a 10-day buyout season kind of guy. He wasn't a buyout, but.
Yeah, it's and he's been open on a lot of those pick and pops, and it'll take time for the teammates to develop trust and chemistry with him. It's be hey, let me get this guy the ball and let him shoot the ball. Like that takes time to develop. Like it's not going to be an instantaneous thing because it's not like, I don't know, he's not a sniper in terms of his reputation, maybe on COD, but it's in terms of like his reputation as a big man shooter, like he's a good shooter, but he still needs to like prove it because he's been out of the league for a while.
Yeah.
So he needs to get those reps back and get the trust of his teammates in terms of on-court play. It'll take some time, which is, again, feeds into why I think he's going to get another 10-day.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't surprise me. We'll see. We heard that
especially because the Bucks have another open roster spot.
Yeah.
Because
AJ Green, like last day of the season.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Or before the playoff eligibility deadline.
I don't think it'll apply to him because he's just going from Bucks to Bucks.
No. I'm saying if they don't fill it before the playoff eligibility.
Yeah. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll fill it. Well, again, they don't have to sign someone before then. That person just has to clear waivers. So I don't think they'll fill 15 until, I think we saw this the championship year. I think they'll do it in like April. Because then the luxury tax hit is less, but you get the guy for the playoffs. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, I think that's probably when it's going to happen. That's probably enough on Meyers Leonard.
Yeah, let's talk about the other new guy.
Yeah, let's talk about. Do you say Boss Man? You say Boss Man 99. Right?
Yeah.
I've like my girlfriend said Boss Man 99.
No, I think it's Boss Man 99 because I just feel like, and I learned from a Zach Lowe article. He also texts like this, so it's not just his Twitter. But I just feel like the way
all caps for people who are on Twitter.
All caps and just like very direct. And when I imagine him saying it, I imagine him going at Bossman 99. Like I don't think he would say 99. I think it's more like direct, like 99.
Yeah, so we actually got a recent tweet from Bossman 99.
Oh baby, I've not seen this. Please read this to me. And
it's all caps.
Read in all caps. You have to
chop wood and carry water.
Yes.
Period! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Let's continue building at Bucks.
Yes. So you know who loves to say that on the broadcast very often? That's a Marcus Johnsonism.
Yeah.
I've heard Marcus say that multiple times this year. I think he's already said it regarding Jay Crowder. That's what we've seen. I mean, honestly, I think the world, the way that Crowder has fit in has been better and quicker than I imagined. He's already playing a lot. So these are the stats. 2 games, just over 20 minutes a game after not playing all year. I mean, like, clearly he did do a good job keeping himself in shape. And I think the workouts he did with Bobby and Joe Ingles probably helped with the acclimation process too. But like immediately is like a real rotational role, which I do think bodes well too. If not starting, eventually being like a top 7, 8, maybe 7, rotation spot on the team. 8 points already in those 20 minutes, which is more than Javon, more than Joe Ingles, a little bit less than Pat Connaughton. Shooting 62.5% from the field, 80% from 3, 50% from free throw. Doing too much maybe to acclimate himself with Giannis. Averaging 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal per game. Team high plus 7.5 per game as well through the 2 games. Again, they blew out Miami. He did have a positive plus minus against the Suns as well. Defensively, I mean, he's hit all his shots. He looks good on offense. He gets to the free throw line. Defensively, he's quick. He has really active hands. Like, you can just tell teams are going to have, and we saw it, especially against the Suns at times. It's going to be a nightmare trying to score on Jrue Holiday, Jay Crowder, Giannis and Brook backline, Javon out there at times, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, who's become physical, Chris Middleton. Like, the defense has just become, they've reached this like Voltron of putting you in hell defense. Like we talked about Jrue Holiday hell prison.
Yeah, I was going to say shout out Laz.
Yeah. This is hell penitentiary. This is hell island. This is like a whole colony.
Yeah.
Like it's
just hell.
Yeah, it's just hell actually. We can take away the other word. It's not an adjective anymore. It's a noun. It's a place. It's the Bucks.
It's the Bucks defense. And this is why it was so high, and this is why we were both so high on getting a guy like Jay Crowder, because he slots in so well to this team. He fits the identity. He fits what this team wants to do on defense, which is just bully guys. because that's what the Bucks want to do. They just bully people. And Jay Crowder fits right into that. And what you give him on the offensive end is great, too. You pointed this out astutely on the playback. He can throw entry passes really well, which is something where it's like, oh, this is nice to have for the Bucks, where they have guys who get deep seals a lot. Giannis gets deep seals a lot. Brook gets deep seals a lot. You just need guys who can throw those entry passes, and Jay Crowder is one of those guys. Like, you pointed this out on an example where Brook ran the court, got a deep seal, and Jay Crowder was able to get him the ball, and I think Brook drew a foul, I believe.
Yep.
So it's just good offense. You need guys who have those skills. And he can hit threes. He came up with 2 clutch threes in a row. I think someone tweeted this a while ago. I don't remember who it was, but it said, like, when Jay Crowder, you're playing against Jay Crowder, his threes feel like you're getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Like,
we've been there. I mean, we've experienced that. There.
It's just whenever you're playing against a team that has Jay Crowder and he's hitting threes, you're just like, oh my God, what are we supposed to do? Because if he's the outlet, if he's like he's the kick out option, that's a damn good kick out option. And
he can do more. He's going to get to the rim.
Exactly.
He's going to draw contact. So he's attempting 2 free throws per game, which is not a ton, but 2 free throws per game so far. Guess how many Bucks average more than that all season?
3?
4. The core 4. That's it. So he's 5th right now in getting to the line. Again, in his 2 games, just joining the team at just 2 per game. Like, it's really, Grayson 1.9, Bobby 1.6. Like, their role players don't get to the line that often. It's going to be kind of nice to have someone else drawing fouls, getting you in the bonus, getting to the line, and just really, like, we've seen him kind of do some bailout possessions already where he'll initiate the contact and get the whistle. He's been around. He knows how to do that.
He's strong.
He is
a strong physical guy.
They're a ridiculously strong team now. Like, going up with him and Jrue and then Giannis and Brook again on that back line, plus the other defenders, West when he's healthy. Like, the strength of this team, like, you're not moving these guys.
Even on a switch, you're not backing him down easily.
No. And the help, too. I mean, we saw there's some possessions under the basket where they were just swarming. Like, when the Bucks are going in their full playoff rotation, when, we see some of these guys, we have question marks a little bit less, they are just going to be everywhere. Like, it is going to be so uncomfortable to play against this team. And I think they've done a tremendous job, like, reinforcing that there's just not going to be a weak link. And if you find one, they just don't have to play him anymore. They have so many options, which is beyond the player himself, which we'll talk about some more here, I think. But just the real win, as we said last time on the pod, is now it's just yet another option and yet another insurance policy for an injury or just a player not having a given game, a given series. But I mean, I'd say the most surprising things, and I think that the entry passes, and that's going to be great for Brook in particular, because I think they get Giannis the ball, right? Like, if you miss Giannis once or twice, he's still going to have 20 possessions in the game. There's times when you'll see Brook have a 6'4" guy on him, and either nobody sees him or nobody can get him the ball. And like we saw Chris throw some pretty ugly entry passes. Like, there's been some times where Brook, I'd say often, when Brook just doesn't get the ball in those matchups, Jay Crowder's like, oh yeah, that's easy money. Let me just float this pass right over the help defender, right to where only you can get it, and don't even put it down. Like, he floated it up so Brook just could grab the ball up there and then go for the shot and draw the foul, as you say. But I'd say just his quickness has been the most surprising. Like, his quick hands, his quick feet. I think we thought of him as like the big body guy because we saw him defend Giannis, and that's what it takes. But he was defending Devin Booker, and he did not really look outmatched defending Devin Booker.
That's why he's a very, very versatile defender. And for all the hullabaloo over him being the guy who requests a trade and whatever, which is it's still funny. It's still really funny, by the way, that Jay Crowder requested a trade. He's on the team now, but it still remains hilarious.
Imagine
but the reason
that worked out so well for him.
Oh my God, it really did.
He got to watch sports work out for most of the year. They didn't dock his pay. They let him do it. They said, sure. Now he's on the Bucks, a better team.
Yeah.
And they love him.
He's great. He's back home. He loves Milwaukee.
Yeah. I have a good quote from him, but you keep going first.
Oh, yeah. But that, what made him super valuable is his ability to be like a flexible defender. You can get him in multiple instances. Like, he's quick enough to hang with some guards. He's strong enough to hang with the bigs. And he's smart enough to where he's calling out help defenses. He's rotating well. His rotations are so crisp already. And you see him you'll see him calling out rotations to other guys on the team already, and he just got here.
Yeah.
Like, he's so quick to learn the defense. I guess he's had the whole season to study up.
Yeah.
Because it's you mentioned the chop wood and carry water thing. He's probably been watching a lot of Bucks games. That's where he heard it.
Yeah.
He's listening to Marcus. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be a Buck. Yeah. So let me study up. So that's probably where he got it from. So he fits all the categories in terms of his quickness, his strength, and his IQ.
Well, I think, it certainly could be that he just fits that well. But we've also seen some of these veteran, established plus players in the league come in, and kind of the Bucks are open about them changing what they do a little bit. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was part of it too. I mean, Jay Crowder's been a guy who's been on elite defenses. Again, I think the stat is like more finals minutes than anyone since, the first time he went with Miami or whatever. Obviously played a ton for Miami and Phoenix in those two finals. I'm sure one of the Golden State guys has most in the last decade or whatever, or LeBron. But, Crowder in recent memory has gone there as much as anyone, has that experience. But, I mean, what stood out to me is against that Heat game, he called out and orchestrated a scram switch. So basically what that means, if you're not aware, is he gets switched on a lesser offensive player. And he basically is like, Grayson, get over here. And switches with him and just made it happen. And we've seen the Bucks do this. I think most notably Bobby Portis, around last playoffs, they were starting to do that more and okay, let's get Bobby off this small when we have a second. It's not something I would say they do a ton. And I think it's something they should look to more. Again, try and keep your Jay Crowders and your Jrue Holidays on the elite offensive players. And that's just the thing, Crowder immediately came in and was doing that. So I don't know how much of that is Bud instructing, but when we talked to Javon Carter, when he joined the team, they didn't press. That's not something the Bucks did, but that's Javon's skill set. So he came in and they were open to okay, yeah, why don't you go do that? Why not? So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some push-pull here with some things that Crowder likes happening too, the switching that we saw in the championship year when they started to finally do that some more.
Yeah, and look at how well the press has worked for the Bucks now. They're very, very open to being adaptive and receptive, like you just mentioned, which is a great thing to point out.
Real quick, Crowder's quote, and then we can probably move on.
Please do. I was just looking at this.
About him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we've talked about the family vibe of the team and everything, and I think this matters, and especially for a team that looks to acquire veteran players because we know what their goal is, and we know vets help more than young guys. I think this is a really cool thing that they have. But this is from Gabe Stoltz at Stoltzy3. He said, I asked Jay Crowder what has impressed him the most about his new teammates so far. Here's his response. Quote, their professionalism. Everyone's on the same page. We don't have any bad apples in the group. It's a great locker room, a great working environment. I just think we're all focused on the same goal. We're trying to be the best team we can be, and we take it day in and day out. We take film session very serious because we communicate with one another very clear and direct. I think that goes a long way. Just a very professional locker room I'm greatly glad to be a part of. People are inferring shots at the Suns. I honestly don't even see it. I just see a guy who's excited to be part of the Bucks.
And this is, again, we've seen these quotes time after time from players who have come to the Bucks, so I don't think this is a shot at the Suns. No. It wouldn't surprise me if he took a shot at the Suns.
I mean, people in the comments are saying, he was maybe the bad apple in Phoenix. I mean, he was the one holding out, not playing. Whatever, hey, they mutually agreed, apparently.
Yeah.
They put out a press release.
They didn't have to mutually agree. A la Philadelphia and Ben Simmons.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't want him back that badly. They didn't try and force the issue anyway. But I do think it's very clear. There's nothing, there's no drama. There's no me first there. I mean, everyone who's been in that locker room says the same thing. And you can tell it's not I don't think this is the Bucks are so good at media training. They don't let anything get out. No, I just think these guys all show up and they're like, hey, let's win a title. How does that sound? And everyone's like, yeah, it sounds good. Except Serge Ibaka, who is now an Instagram first guy.
Yeah. Imagine, he can't even sign back with the Bucks.
Good.
I know I mentioned this already. Do you think he signs with the team?
No.
No?
No.
Not even with the Warriors or something?
Why?
I don't know, some team who desperately needs a big.
If they don't have access to his tape, I mean, I just here's the issue, right? Any team you can mention, that especially a good one, but really any team you can mention, find me a roster where Serge plays every night, which is apparently anything less than that, he's not happy. We learned that. He played something with the Bucks, not like he didn't play at all. Like, you won't find it. He's not good enough. Teams have better players. I'm not even trying to be mean. That's factual. There is no 20-minute-a-night role in the league for Serge anymore. Not in the NBA league.
No.
There's other leagues out there. Kenneth Faried is playing for the Capitans right now. You know, I think the Herd could use him. I think that's legal. He could sign with the G League with the Herd.
Yeah, he could.
Probably play 30 a night. They need some size.
Yeah, you always need size in the G League.
Yeah.
That'd be a real reality check.
Listen, I would bet there is an overseas venue in store for Serge Ibaka pretty soon. But that's enough about Serge Ibaka.
It's just funny to me.
I want to talk about Jrue Holiday.
Let's talk about him.
The king of the fourth. He's become more clutch. No, or am I a prisoner of the moment? Because, you know, obviously, like, you know, the Nets series late, we know what he did against Phoenix, but it seems like offensively, you can set your clock to it now. Like, okay, the Bucks need someone to step up in the fourth quarter, especially if Giannis is either limited or out. It's like, okay, Jrue every single time. Like, he's going to show up. He's going to give them a chance to win, if not win the game himself. And it's on both ends. Like, I don't think there's anybody in the league who's had as many, like, he like is a baseball closer. Like, he doesn't even give the team a shot to win. They don't get on base.
No, you're not a prisoner of the moment because he's been doing this, like you mentioned, for a while now. But especially this season, he started to ramp that up.
Yeah.
Which is why we've been talking about it all season long. Like, Jrue Holiday is going to reap the benefits. Yeah. He's going to take advantage of the opportunities by Chris Middleton being out for so long, Giannis missing games, Jrue Holiday being forced and thrust into this role consistently of being a massive focal point on offense and taking these big shots is going to translate, because even when players are healthy, he's going to still have that ability. And we're seeing it happen right now. Like, given in this Phoenix, these last couple games, like, Giannis wasn't really playing, but you see Jrue Holiday, even with Chris out there, Chris used to be that guy, Ty. He was that guy last season, seasons before that. It was Chris's role. Jrue has stepped in and taken that role seamlessly. And now that Chris is still working his way back, still coming off the bench, still playing limited minutes, Jrue Holiday's like, yeah, I'll take that role and I'll thrive. I'll hit clutch jumper after clutch jumper. I'll make the defensive plays that are needed because I've had the practice, I've had the experience, I've had the opportunity, and now I'm here to showcase it.
And I think a couple of things go into this, and I think that's a great way to put it, is that he really did step in and be like, I can be Chris this year. Okay. Which, I mean, get healthy, Chris. I mean, you've had a guy kind of step in and show he can do it. Contract year. I think he'll be around next year, but no deal yet. There is a player option you could take. But 19.8 points per game now for Jrue, Bucks high. Shooting 6.4 threes per game, which is a Bucks high. Surprisingly, although it feels like this is the best we've seen him shoot, percentage-wise, it's the lowest in a Bucks uniform. I still buy this jumper more for some reason. 7.1 assists, Bucks high. 5.2 rebounds, Bucks high. And I'm saying not high on the Bucks this year, but on
his career as a Milwaukee Buck.
Yes. So it's the most, all of the bulk stats are the highest they've ever been, despite he's played between 32.3 and 33 flat minutes. So it's not like it's just because he's playing more minutes. He's just being more productive. And the Bucks need all of it. He's also 85.9% from free throw, also his highest as a Buck. I feel like he's gotten more consistent scoring around the paint, and both at the rim and like his short mid-range game as well. And I think that's what's made it possible for him to be such a consistent scorer. It's not all about threes, even though he is shooting more. It feels like he's gotten more comfortable taking these players who almost all the time the guy guarding him is weaker than Jrue because Jrue is that damn strong. He's gotten really comfortable taking those guys to the paint, creating that separation with his strength, and then knocking down the shot. And I feel like, he still misses some here and there, but I do think on the whole, like versus his first couple of years, and I'll try to pull up the numbers now to see if I'm just, rose-colored glasses or if this is real, but I do feel like he's gotten better at converting those closer shots. And I think that's why he's able to be nearly a 20-point per game scorer here with Milwaukee and an all-star for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah. And again, we're not mentioning his all-world defensive efforts are still a thing. He's still one of the best screen navigators. He's probably the best perimeter defender in the league still. And it's just, one thing I was worried about personally is like him getting overtaxed, which is what's happened in the playoffs in years past, where it's just like, okay, you asked Jrue to do so much in the defensive end, and then you can't expect him to do a lot on the offensive end. This is why you see the field goal percentages, the 3-point percentages just plummet. Like his skill set, like his offensive skill set is still showing in terms of his assists, his playmaking, but you would just see his shooting like tank. Now he's in such a rhythm now where he's used to being, hey, I'm still an all-world defender, but I can still shoot well and do things offensively from the field, which is why you're sort of seeing him play that role and be that guy, be that two-way superstar, that two-way monster that he's become this season. I just hope and pray that this translates and this is not just fool's gold, Ti, because I am not prepared to be heartbroken.
As Bud said after the game today, when asked about his defensive play, guy's a winner. He did go from shooting, I think, 61% in the restricted area to 66% this year. So it is a bit higher for him. That's just below Bobby Portis and a bit above Pat Connaughton, who's had a down year finishing. I feel like Pat just hasn't gotten all cylinders running due to some injuries this year. Still not worried at all. That's my Pat Connaughton analysis.
We trust Pat. Look behind you, Ti. Yep. We have an ambiguous number 24 up there.
Just some random, who knows what that has to do with.
It might not even be the numbers 24. Who knows?
Yeah, could just be some squiggles. Brook Lopez. Oh my God. He is. I think this is the best he's ever played. And I know people will say, Nets all-time leading scorer. It's true. The one bright spot in that franchise's sad history is Brook Lopez. Richard Jefferson, I guess. Put out a clip on TikTok, Richard, and I'll include you for sure. That's the deal. But his scoring in the past, whatever. He's been an all-star, whatever. This player right now, this Brook Lopez, this guy is doing more for winning. And if that's not a better player, I don't really know what the point of ranking players is. They always do this, oh yeah, Jrue's going to help your team win more. But, Trae Young has 30 points a game. Cool. If he's not helping you win games, is he better? What's the point? What are we ranking? What is the comparison worth? Oh yeah, I mean he's got 30 and 10, and they go 500 every year, and he gets 4 coaches fired in 5 years. But we gotta say he's better because 30 and 10, right? I don't think so. But anyway, that aside, Brook Lopez though is just been a god, honestly. 50% from the field, 37% from three, 14.7 points per game, which is by far a Bucks high for him. 6.6 rebounds, 2.4 blocks. I don't know if that's still leading the league or not. It's close, but he's been night to night. Maybe no player has contributed more night to night because he's missed less time than any of the big three.
The consistent effort has been unparalleled in terms of what he brings night to night, like you mentioned, for this Milwaukee Bucks team, because he doesn't miss time, like you mentioned, and he is consistently bringing a defensive effort. There's only been a few games this season, a handful out of the 60 that have been played thus far, where you just see Brook out of sorts in terms of he can't really be on the floor that much in this matchup. And that's not really been a thing. It used to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that used to be more of a thing where it's oh man, this isn't a Brook game. This isn't a Brook game. Every game's a Brook game. Every game is a damn good Brook game now. Yeah.
You basically, if it's as long as the team doesn't have it's not just a big man who can shoot. It's got to be a legit shooter or a really mobile big man. Really, I think we've seen Clippers and Celtics, and the last time we saw Celtics, it was a bizarre Celtics game anyway. And I think if Horford and if Time Lord played more, that would actually help Brook play. I mean, they were just super small, flying around with Blake and Mike Muscala or whatever else. But yeah, I think he's really made himself. He's not matchup proof, but he's close. And given what he gives you in the good matchups, you'll take that. You look at potentially seeing Philly or Cleveland in the second round, right? That's Those are going to be the teams. The Bucks will almost certainly see one of those two. Both of those series.
I mean, Cleveland is.
Are they falling off? Well, who else would it be? Is anyone gaining? The Knicks, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's the Knicks are
the
just three. Knicks are 3 games back.
Yeah. Regardless, that team 2, or certainly the Heat, any of those 4, Brook is going to feast in those series. Like, Brook is going to make those other teams. It's just going to be so hard to score at the rim, and we know. I don't think a team can beat the Bucks in a 7-game series if they can't get Brook out of the paint. I really do think that's step 1 for beating the Bucks, and you're not for sure going to do it if you can. We saw this in the finals in 21, but I think if you don't dislodge Brook, you will never score enough efficiently. Doesn't matter how good you are defensively. We've seen Giannis, Chris, Jrue, they'll score enough. It may be ugly, they'll do it. If Brook is comfortable dropping, and we talked about all the other defensive personnel, I legitimately believe you're not beating the Bucks in a series. I just don't think it will happen. I think that defense is going to be too good. You'll never score enough. So even if the flip side, like the Clippers, the Celtics, oh man, it's so hard for Brook to play. Sure. If the other side of the coin though is they're like unbeatable, that's a trade you make 10 times out of 10 with your 4th best player. Like, this isn't the Jazz or the Wolves trying to build around Rudy Gobert, where they needed him to be like one of their best 2 guys. This is their 4th best player. And, as much as we love Brook, clearly 4th, right? Not 3rd or 2nd. And that's an insane luxury to have. And the big fella somehow turns 35 in a month, just gets better every single year with the Bucks. And doesn't make any sense, but props to him, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see. And like you mentioned, in terms of like teams aren't going to beat the Bucks if they don't get them out of the paint, it's because the Bucks are a defense-first team, and that starts with Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
Like, Brook Lopez is the anchor of this team's identity. So unless you can dislodge that identity, you're not going to get anywhere.
Do you agree with that take?
I do. I really do. I truly do. Because Giannis is the best player by far. Full stop. There's no arguing that. As if you can quote unquote stop Giannis, that's step number 1. But that's impossible. So you have to go for something a little more realistic. And if you're going to dislodge anyone, it's Brook Lopez rather than Giannis. If you're an opposing team. But yeah, the Bucks are built. They're built around Giannis, but they're also built around Brook Lopez. Realistically. Yeah. That's what this team's identity is. That's who they are. That's who they lean into. Everything they do funnels down to what Brook Lopez can do. Again, aside from Giannis, that's obvious.
Yeah, but no, it's fair though. I mean, they found ways to play without Brook because they found out they had to. I mean, there are some matchups, and the playoffs are where you're going to find those teams, and teams will push as hard as they can to get Brook out of the paint because they can't win when he is there. But it does a lot of what they do, and less now. In the early days, it was like everything went through Brook and Giannis in 18-19. Now they're less focused, but that's still when they're at their best.
Yeah, for sure. It's where they're at their peak. That's peak Bucks right there. That's where they're fully leaning into themselves and playing at full cylinder. They're not trying to adjust to anything. It's making other teams adjust to them, and that's when they have Brook Lopez manning the paint.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this a lot with Wembanyama. I watch him, and I just think everyone wants to put him at the 5 already. And it's not just because he's not bulky enough for me. I really look at him and see, like, this is going to sound sacrilege. His absolute ceiling scenario, I see an even better Giannis-style help side defender. Like, the way he moves already, and he's even bigger, but he's so quick, and his arms, the way he can poke the ball out, like, not around a screen, around a guy and then a screen. It's ridiculous. That's his absolute ceiling, I'm saying, to be clear. But I don't want to put him at the 5, not even long-term if he bulks up a little. Like, I think him in the Giannis role in this Bucks-style defense, I think that's the most devastating you can unleash a player like that. Is not, switching out or being the drop man themselves, but giving that drop man help. I think that's when a defense goes from good to what we've seen with the Bucks lately, which is like, oh my God, they're just like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, that is a fun idea. The thing is with Wembanyama is that he doesn't really need to come from the weak side to really swat shots. He can do that on his own, like even if he is playing center, which is like I see a little bit of as a counter argument to that. But I do agree with you as his premise. I think he's more of a 4 than a 5.
Well, I mean, just imagine, like, just drop, like, I'm not saying again I want to do this, but just imagine drop him in for Giannis. Imagine you're trying to work against Jrue. You go to a Brook and you kind of go around, and then Wembanyama is there. Like, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy with Giannis too. That's why they're so damn good. But I don't know. Who knows? Wemby is an alien, as LeBron says. He can do anything. Excited to see where he goes.
I can't wait till he forces a trade to Milwaukee.
Hey, Giannis will hand him the keys.
Start the seed early, you know.
If he goes to Houston, who knows how long he'll be there, man. The things people are saying about you don't talk about the opposite front office of the locker room environment of the Bucks. Whew. Did you hear what Gavoni said?
Yeah.
Ooh. I think it's a little unfair.
Is it?
About KPJ.
Oh, about KPJ. Yeah, that was a little unfair.
The guy hasn't played in 17 games, so you can't blame him, I think, for what's going on right now. What were you reacting to? Oh, teams don't want to go to Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course not.
Yeah, and it's also like there are some teams where you'd rather your players go to, and Houston's not one of them.
Which is crazy. I'm sure they kind of are like, are you sure, agent? Are you sure? It's Houston. It's H-Town.
Yeah, but it's Houston.
I know, yeah. It's the Rockets. That's the problem.
Yes. H-Town. I mean, James Harden's already got his jersey retired. It's some establishment.
He's going back.
That's so funny. That'd be so funny.
I think it's happening. I think everyone knows it's happening.
And they have money to spend too.
I don't think it's up to them.
That's fair.
And it's just like, and the funny thing is, people are not wrong when they're like, that's a low drama Sixers season. Could you imagine if we knew Chris was like going to go somewhere else, basically? I know they don't know, but they kind of know. Like, it's kind of been out there. Like, that would be like earth shattering. That would be like, oh my God, that's crushing. James, obviously, it's not the same shared history. He hasn't won a title, but he's, probably maybe even more important to that team as Chris now that Jrue is playing the way he is. And it's just like, yeah, James kind of wants to go play in Houston after them. They suck. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, he kind of wants to go back. And the Sixers are like, that's nothing, dude. You should have, this is light. Is that all, James? Are you going to sit out at all? No? This is fine. Sure, leave later.
Yeah, it's all good.
We don't care. We've been through worse.
Then Embiid's going to force a trade to Milwaukee. Maybe the Brook successor is Joel Embiid. Can you imagine?
If that domino falls, I don't know how it would shake out. It would be something, though.
I don't know how good that fit would be, but I think they're too talented not to figure it out.
I mean, if he goes to Milwaukee, nothing else matters for a couple of years.
Yeah, who cares?
And we're good. I mean, that defense would really, man. The fit would be ugly, but
the fit would be ugly, but that's the way the Bucks like to play.
Yeah, in the mud, and it's been working. 14 straight wins. Do you have any other players you want to talk about, or any other thoughts about the Milwaukee Bucks? Winners of 14 straight games before
Grayson Allen's been doing really well.
Oh yeah, I should have figured this. Let's talk about your son.
I mean, I won't go too much because I feel like I talk about him every episode. But he's playing well. He's playing well. He's being physical. He's getting to the rim a lot more, drawing some free throws. Like, he's getting those attempts up, and he's also like still continuing to shoot the ball really well. I just think Grayson Allen post trade deadline has just been incredible as a great role player for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, Jordan mentioned this, and I'm interested for your thoughts. Expounded. It's probably good for him that obviously not that just that he didn't get traded. Now that the deadline is gone, like that had to be. It weighs on guys, and I'm sure he did think about it. Like, I'm sure he didn't want to go to wherever the Bucks would have sent him, Brooklyn, or even if Phoenix didn't want him, he had to go to Houston. We just talked about how players look at going to Houston, Detroit. Like, I'm sure it's a big relief, and he can really find his comfort zone now. Real quick, before I throw back to you for your thoughts on that, what did I ask of him? Do you remember?
2 assists.
2.4 a game. I like to see it. I really do like to see it. Some ugly turnovers, but the assist-turnover ratio is still strong, still better than 2-1. So, he's playing physical like I want to see. He's more involved in the offense like I want to see. I agree with you. Grayson's having a great year. And again, like we've seen other players, I think most notably Pat Connaughton, he's become more Bucksy and just become a better fit. And it just shows you like the buy-in. And it's I don't get any sense of like he wants his role to be a certain way. I think he's just trying to help the team. He's offensive rebounding now, which this is an emphasis for them.
He's sacrificing his body on a lot of these plays. Game after game, like play after play. He's diving on the floor. He's going up, challenging big guys for offensive tap outs. He's doing the dirty work.
Yeah.
He's become one of those guys in the mud.
There's two ways to go about what happened with him in the Celtics series. Lane one, basically just kind of crumble. Maybe not ask for a trade, but yeah, maybe they do trade me and I don't have to be in this situation anymore. Whatever. Shy away from it. Get more in your head. Get more in your shell. I'm not even trying to throw shade, but this is what happened to Ben Simmons, right? Like that, we saw it. Ever since he didn't dunk the ball, it's basically been that path. And I'm not indicting him. I know there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot off the court for him, but that is what happened. Way two, the second thing you can do is exactly what Grayson's done. And I think try to build yourself to a player that can't happen to. And we'll see. I mean, do I think he's going to shut down Jason Tatum? No.
Yeah.
Rohan does. This does, though, look like a player. The way he's playing, all the things we're talking about, that's the kind of player who does well in the playoffs. And we'll have to see it there. The mental side of that stage is different as well. But I think physically and play style-wise, that's the stuff we needed to see from him. He's delivering. And I think certainly props to him for trying to make himself a playoff player for the Bucks. I mean, if he's a good playoff player now, this rotation is simply absurd.
Yeah, it's just unpenetrable. Like, you can't really find a weak link then.
Yeah.
It's what you like to see, and what you like to see are the Bucks winning games, which is what they're doing, Ty. 14 in a row. I'm going to put you on the spot. What does the win streak get to?
Let me look at the schedule again. I'll give you an answer. I won't shy away.
They got Brooklyn, Orlando back-to-back, Sixers, Wizards, Magic back.
It gets to 17. Funniest outcome. They beat the Sixers and then lose to the Wizards. Yeah.
I think they lose the Sixers game.
Wouldn't shock me, but here's the thing. Here's why I'm not. I actually will say this. I think they're more likely to lose to Brooklyn or Orlando or Washington than Philly. I feel like they lost the last Sixers game ugly. That was one of my low points of the season. Was it Maxey who goes out? Harden was already out. And they defended Embiid so well, and they just played dumb, and they played lazy, and they blew it. I think they owe that team one. I think Giannis will be back. I think they win that Sixers game at home.
And then lose to the Wizards.
Yeah, of course.
Kyle Kuzma's going to have like 50.
Porzingis is going to – it just feels like, Brooks a little tired. Maybe he sits. I doubt it. He never wants to. But if he goes up against Embiid, is that back-to-back? It is. So maybe he sits the next game, or it's just a little slow.
Road back-to-back as well. That's gross.
So Zinger with a little extra space just drops in 10 threes or something. Yeah.
23 hours as well.
Just makes sense.
Yeah, that does kind of make sense. But we have to remember one thing, Ty.
Yeah.
That it's the Washington Wizards.
It is. But that's the thing. We'll have to just look at what they do between now and then. Because here's how to figure out what the Wizards will do. Both results out of their control and their moves that they make, they always align. What gets us to 10th? And if they're 9th, they will lose to the Bucks. If they are 11th, they will beat the Bucks. If they're already 10th, they could go either way. But the Washington Wizards
might be the first draw in NBA history.
Yeah, they're going to say, listen, we're where we need to be, baby. We 10th.
We will go to 17 overtimes if we need to before Adam Silver calls this game.
Let's see, where are the Wiz? Oh, they're 10th. See, Oof. They're 10th. We're in trouble. They're only half a game above the Bulls, but they are a full game behind the Raptors. So it is more likely for them to be in 11th and 10th next time we see the Wizards.
Oh, boy. So you think it gets 17?
Wouldn't surprise me. I think it does.
I'll say 16. I'll say 16. I'll be the
Sixers.
Debbie Downer.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll let you be the optimist.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, I'll let you have that one. But yeah, I mean, it'll be the Sixers championship if they beat the Bucks. So
it's all they have to play for.
It's also an ABC game.
Yeah.
Which the Bucks are like, iffy on ABC.
They pulled
though
it
they
out
did
this one. Yeah.
They did.
The Miami game was national too, right? But it wasn't.
Yes, it was ESPN.
ABC, ESPN, yeah.
All Disney, so whatever.
Yeah.
Good job,
Mickey.
conglomerates. Mickey, did you say?
Yeah. It's just funny. Bronny James, future Buck.
I mean, if they get Bronny.
Have you caught the hype on him?
I saw he's like a good 3-and-D prospect.
They're saying like his max ceiling is Jrue Holiday. The way he moves the ball, unselfish player, kind of a winner, rangy defender. They're saying Gavoni said on that pod, he's like, no ego at all. Like you wouldn't know, he's part of James Gang.
James Gang.
LeBron's a cool dad. I'm not even.
No, he seems like
it's just
cool
funny.
dad.
They play it up so much. But I think outside of even LeBron coming to play, well, obviously I'm down for that. But sounds like a good Bucksy player too.
Yeah, good 3-and-D wing who's capable of playmaking. Yeah, I'll take that any day.
Lonzo-esque almost is the vibe I'm getting.
So knock on wood for his knees.
Yeah, oof.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it is.
It's
shut down for the year.
Feels so bad for him.
I know. Good player. Seems like a good guy too overall.
Yeah. Like his brother. Have you seen the videos of LaMelo leaving the facility? Yes. He's almost running people over and running red lights.
Unserious. Take his keys away, man. Like that's bad. It's bad. Like this could turn into a bad story.
It's consistent.
I saw I think Retro Jeff Hoops. He's a Rockets fan, but he has like good NBA. Just a good Twitter person I've been following. I hope that's the @ or that's the display name, one of the others. But he said the Rockets would be the Hornets would be a contender if instead of being good at basketball, it was like players committing the most crimes. It's kind of wild.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane what the Hornets are doing. But like, there's it's right outside the arena. He's just like almost hitting people and running red lights.
It's like a bit now. Like they're all out there filming every time, and he's just like doesn't care at all.
Almost crashing the supercars that he has. It's ridiculous.
Pretty wild. I've never seen a team assemble a less talented group of criminals.
It's
like usually at least there's upside, right? At least you're like the Dallas Cowboys, and you're getting like Pro Bowl guys who are also he fell in the draft because of this. The Hornets guys aren't even good, and they're also doing crimes and getting suspended and stuff. Like very odd.
Yeah. Michael Jordan, not a serious owner.
Mitch Kupchak, baby. MJ saw him sign that Timofey Mazdov and Luol Deng contracts and said, we need that guy. He understands the modern league.
He was like, he knows how to put his money where not his mouth is.
We're gonna keep bullying the Hornets until Andrew comes over totally.
Yes,
I think it's all lotto based. If they fall 3 or lower, I think we got him. If they get Wemby or Scoot, I think they'll have him for another year or two at least.
Yeah, Scoot and LaMelo, or Wemby and LaMelo. That's fun.
Would Wemby do crimes if they drafted him?
No. He's been like indoctrinated into like the NBA society already and like the lifestyle. He seems like Gavoni said he's like a quiet guy.
I get some, and I don't think it'll probably be the same like social justice. Maybe we'll see. Who knows? I got some Kareem from the way Gavoni described him. Just this huge guy who's like painting and listening to classical music. I was like, oh, that's I didn't expect that. That's fun.
Yeah. Seems like a good dude by all accounts.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the only, obviously, I'm not saying has crime tendencies. It's just a Hornets observation.
It's crime.
Hopefully he doesn't go there and learn insurrection or anything from his future teammates. Hopefully not. Although the French are prone to that. That is their nation. They're right on.
And with that, thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here at Blue Wire GSPN. Make sure you check out the Bobby Portis autographed jersey giveaway, as well as the interest form for our live event that we're going to be hosting Tuesday, April 4th. Make sure you check that out, all at gspn.info, where you can also find links to all of our other podcasts here on GSPN, Substack, merch store, Discord links, playback links, whatever you need, all at gspn.info. I lost my train of thought there. Make sure you are subscribed wherever it happens. It hasn't happened to me in a while, but it happens.
Yeah.
Out of practice on the intro. Missed the last pod. But
this is an outro, so you're right.
Yeah.
They teased me for doing it real bad on the last one, so it could be worse.
I think that got to my head.
Yeah.
Honestly. But yeah, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening or watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, Pod Random, and we will talk to you next time.